Welcome back, guys. So before we move on to group work 3, let's just recap our objectives and make sure that we have covered everything. So we had a look at adding pivot tables directly from the data model. So we did that from the Home tab and we just selected the pivot table option. Gave us the opportunity then to load into a new or existing sheet. Then we had to focus our attention on building relationships between our tables of data. We added some fields into our new pivot table and we noticed that the data wasn't being displayed correctly. So in order to build those relationships, we went back into the data model. On the Home tab under the View group, we selected the diagram view. From there, we rearranged our tables so that our sales table, which we discovered contained lots of duplicate records, was towards the bottom of the data view window, and we positioned our lookup tables. These were the tables that had the unique values above. From there we identified the keys that linked the lookup table to the sales table. Once we established the connections by clicking and dragging to form those connections, we had built our relationships. Doing this helps us visualize the data flowing down from the lookup tables to the sales table. The sales table in our example was the many side and it contained the duplicate values. For example, a customer we're hoping is going to return to our store and buy on many separate occasions. Therefore, their key, their unique customer ID key, would be duplicated many times in our sales table. Also, the product key is going to be duplicated many times in our sales table because many customers will buy the same product. Another way for us to visualize this concept is that the many side, our sales table, is requesting information from the lookup tables above. This whole concept is called a one-to-many relationship. Our next objective was a bit of a clean-up exercise, and we learnt that we could hide certain fields or indeed tables from the pivot table field list. Doing so didn't affect any of our search results, and it also helps to unclutter the pivot table field list, as well as making it really easy for the end user when they're making their selections. So that wraps up our recap of objectives for group work 2. Next we'll have a look at our objectives for group work 3, where we're going to be discussing linking and importing Excel data into our data model and the pros and cons for each. So I'll see you in the next lecture.